Hello, I'm Joel Blackford with Beth Hassett Sabbath Fellowship. We're virtual only. We're based out of St. Paul, Minnesota. The phone number does work. What we try to do is the philosophy of eschatology, what you need to know, your reality, our existence as we go forward into the end of days. We try to solve revelation a verse at a time, a concept at a time. Today we're trying to solve the SatanCons, SatanCon of 2023 in Boston. It's an interesting thing. Basically, the Satanists are in our face right now, but I'm going to show you how they aren't in our face and they're just as bad in the other way. So the main thing is in our face. They immediately held their conference over this weekend, over this May Day weekend, and they started tearing up a Bible. Ooh, people do that all the time. There are fires that occur and your Bibles burn up, so get used to it. But this is their 10th anniversary. They normally are based out of Salem, Massachusetts, but they came to Boston for this. They got into a fight with the mayor, but they always get into fights. They're Satanists, okay? They also tore up a thin blue line flag, so they're anti-police, anti-Bible. Who are they? They're Satanists, okay? But really, they're a different Satanist group. I'm going to show you that in a couple of slides here. Um, they are reclaiming the trans body and deconstructing your religious upbringing as major draws for the conference. The Satanic Temple, yes, once again, the 10th year anniversary. There you can see on the right-hand side that they are tearing up the flag. They're really trying to curse humanity. That's ultimately their goal. They aren't for anything positive whatsoever. And really, I'm saying that the curse then is the Genesis 1:26 through 27 talks about God making them in his image. Male and female in his image did he make them. Well, they're against that. And then Deuteronomy 6:4, Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. And so they're against that too, that God did make us and God does love us. So they're witches. And what makes you think she's a witch? Well, she turned me into a newt. A newt? I got better. That's Monty Python. It is a joke, but it's not a joke, and I'll explain how it's not a joke in a little bit. Obviously, on the right-hand side here, the mayor is not the sponsor, no. But people are making jokes about it because you can see in the tweet there. Attracts hundreds of members to be the largest gathering in history. I'm not exactly concerned with the rash of conversions with this kind, but I will keep my pet goat on a short leash. That is actually funny. My not sponsoring or affiliated with SatanCon 2023 T-shirt has people asking a lot of questions already answered by my shirt. There you go. So what are we doing here today? We are looking at the Bible. We're trying not to twist it, of course. We're looking at prophecy. We're looking at the news. We're doing the philosophy of the end of days. Thank you for joining us. So once again, it is SatanCon 2023. And really, according to Gary Pike, they're not the old school Satanists, but atheists, activists. They use provocative imagery in public media campaigns meant to advance their secularism, their science, their individual liberties, their types of liberties. The Roman Catholics came out and said, don't show up, people. Just pray against it. Be quiet. Don't expose them. Don't give them more press. Don't start a fight. Don't start anything. The Christians, other than the Roman Catholics, did show up, and they're starting fights, and they repent, the end is near, and Jesus defeated Satan on the cross, and all the stuff, all the dogma. And so the problem is, yes, Jesus defeated Satan, but there's still a battle. And so anyway, the point is, so it is a large gathering. They're trying to make this a fight against the Satanists, or the Satanists versus Wu. Well, they're both evil. So Wu is not a good mayor. So, it doesn't really matter. These aren't your grandfather's Satanists, according to the Axios Boston. They're provocative. They use provocative imagery in public media campaigns meant to advance their secularism, their science, their individual liberties. This is a different group than say, I'm blanking on the name of the guy from the 1960s that just looked like a Satanist, out of LA. So the main thing is it's sold out. It's huge. It's occurring on a special day of the year, May Day, leading up to that Beltane, you could call it. It's a chilling view of religious liberty, according to America Family News, dedicated to Boston Mayor Michelle Wu. Not if she wanted it that way. No, she's against that. But it's really The headquarters of the temple is in Salem, so where? Salem, Massachusetts. Zachary says in his book that they have abortions. They literally are getting women impregnated, and they're boarding the babies as a sacrifice to the devil. Pavone said he did in 146 of these procedures where he helped the abortionist kill the baby. And so what I'm going to get at is witchcraft is always linked to abortion. Okay, and he's claiming that they rushed in and devoured the baby's parts. I'm saying there is power in the blood. The Satanists know it. The Christians don't seem to understand it, but there is power in the blood. There always has been. That's why God said, "Don't eat the blood." And you could say, "I'm a New Testament Christian. I don't have to believe that Old Testament stuff." Well, the problem is it's there twice in Acts 15. So it is there. Don't eat the blood. Don't eat the blood. Don't eat the blood, regardless of whether you're an Old Testament Christian or a new one. Okay? And so um, Jordan Peterson was weighing in, and he's saying the best bands are affiliated with Satan. Yes, Satan does control the music industry. Thank you, Jordan, for that. Pictures with Baphomet. Oh, that's got to be making her day. And then here's Jordan again. Um, they what can I say without getting in trouble? Really, Jordan's pointing out sins of the flesh, Satanism, and self-pleasure, and so yeah, it's he's talking about the gender issue, and it is there, the confusion issue. Okay, so thank you, Jordan Peterson, for adding sanity to this. And this is from, oh goodness, I didn't mark who this is from. I'm sorry. But anyway, it's a recent article saying that there's a Nazi group that's crashing the party, the Boston party. And so I'm sorry that I didn't mark, but at least I mentioned that it's from Victor Sweezy. So it's April 29th. White nationalist group Patriot Front showed up in Boston on Saturday to protest SatanCon 2023. And I would say if they're a Nazi group and they're showing up at a SatanCon conference, if Satan drives out Satan, he is divided against himself. So how can his kingdom survive? So I don't quite get it. Okay. So Satan has no rights. Okay, whatever. Um, so basically, the Christian demonstrators are going to show up and say whatever. Once again, the Archdiocese of Boston said, do not get involved in this. Just pray. Just pray. That's it. Okay. So witchcraft and all that stuff and Monty Python and the humor of it, because really we laugh at witchcraft today. We don't do anything about it because we think it's all a joke. The problem is some of these things apply all the way through. So let's quote Deuteronomy 19. Do not eat anything with blood. So once again, that's also found in Acts 15. So it carries through, people. Regardless of whether you think you're just a New Testament Christian, it carries through. Do not practice divination or fortune telling. Don't round your hair at the temples or mar the edges of your beard. Don't cut gashes in your flesh, so don't cut yourself in a ritual way, and do not tattoo someone dead on your body. So I was talking to a friend the other day, and he said, well, my mom was going to tattoo a picture of the baby that died when she birthed the baby many years ago, and she wanted to have that tattoo on her body. And that's exactly the problem here. You don't want to have death tattooed onto your body. So that is God saying that. So don't tattoo yourselves. I would recommend against tattoos. I don't think they're healthy. Okay, so obviously there is the concept of burning the witches. I'm saying kick them out of the community. Okay, move to another place or move them out. Okay, and why? Because they're always going to be after the children. That's it, either through abortion or through manipulating the children. And so I'm saying it's very odd that the parsha that we read this week, it's a double parsha, Acharei Mot and Kedoshim, which is the middle of Leviticus, starting in chapter 16 and going through about 20, 21. And so Kedoshim is about being holy to God because he's holy. And Acharei Mot is about the Yom Kippur service. So many of the wonderful verses there really display how God wants us to lead these holy lives, and he expects a lot out of us, and he gives us so much in return. So yeah, get rid of the witches. Okay, so May Day, what's the deal with that? Maybe, I can't remember now because it was so many years ago, if I celebrated May Day with the other kids and did the pole thing. The pole thing is from 2 Chronicles 33, people. So you don't want kids dancing around poles and doing May Day celebrations, because what it ends up being is on the right-hand side, which is paganism, just straight up paganism, okay? May Day marks the return of spring in the northern hemisphere with origins in ancient pagan agricultural rituals to ensure fertility. Yep, there you go. Handed down from the Egyptians, Greeks, and Romans. It's very old. Later permutations include the Celtic festival of Beltane and the Germanic festival of, I can't even say it, Walpurgis Night. Yeah, so this is from the medievalist errant blog. Okay, continuing on, human sacrifice and offerings were made, yep, all the way through. Ritual would be followed by rejoicing and festivities of all kinds, coming from Anne Ross. Beltane was sacred to the god, whatever, whose cult orbit stretched from Italy across Europe and into the British Isles. So that's the what. It's the May Day history. It's been going on forever. When? Since forever, basically. So let's look at it one more time. This is Romans celebrating this on May Day. Drinking, dancing, flowers filled the streets. Games, theatrical presentations, sex, drugs, and rock and roll. So that was always April 30th. So that's tonight, okay, when the witches meet on the Brocken Mountain and hold revels with their gods. Brocken is the highest of the Harz Mountains in northern central Germany. It's noted for the phenomenon of the Brocken specter and for witches' revels, which reputedly took place there on Walpurgis Night. The Brocken specter is a magnified shadow of an observer, typically surrounded by rainbow-like bands, thrown into a bank of cloud in a high mountain area when the sun is low. The phenomenon was first reported on the Brocken. So that's your May Day history that goes all the way through. And way back in Bible times, Tel Dan. So what did they worship at their high place? Tel would be like a mountain. Okay. Therefore, human beings speak to the house of Israel, tell them that Adonai Elohim says, moreover, your ancestors blasphemed me by breaking faith with me in still another way. For after I had brought them into the land, which I had raised my hand to pledge them to give them, they noted all the high hills, the bamas, the high places, and leafy trees, and offered their sacrifices. And they made offerings that provoked my anger. I'm stating those offerings are probably child sacrifice. Okay, and they set out their sweet aromas, and there they poured out their drink offerings. When I asked them, this high place where you go, what is the meaning of it? They gave it the name Bama, which it retains to this day. So that's Ezekiel 20, 27 through 29. So that's the problem, the high places. That's where you would take your children and kill them. Okay, now here's 1 Chronicles 33, where I'm submitting that this is the May poll here. So let's see what you think. So as for the rebuilt high places, which Hezekiah, his father, had smashed, he erected, I'm blanking on the name of this king, erected altars to Baalim and made sacred the May poles and worshipped all the army of heaven. So that would be the fallen angels, and served them. He erected altars in the house of Adonai, concerning which Adonai had stated, my name will be in Jerusalem forever. He erected altars for all the army of heaven, once again the fallen angels, and in the two courtyards of the house of Adonai, he made his children pass through the fire. Okay, so that is it. That's child sacrifice. In the Ben Hinnom Valley, he practiced soothsaying, divination, and sorcery, and he appointed mediums and persons who use spirit guides. That happens today in a Christian church in California. Wow. He did much that was evil from Adonai's perspective, thus provoking him to anger. He set the carved image of the idol he made in the house of God, concerning which God had told David and Shlomo, Solomon his son, in this house in Jerusalem, which I have chosen out of all the tribes of Israel, I will put my name forever. So that's 1 Chronicles 33, 3 through 7, and that is a picture of putting the child through the fires of Molech and Baal, and it's all synonymous with idol worship, but it's always synonymous with witchcraft and abortion. They work together. They're linked together, always, all the way through. You have to have abortion, child sacrifice, killing off your children, which is stupid, but people have done it and will do it, continuing to this day. So are we supposed to kill witches? No, but we're supposed to put them out. We shouldn't let them be around our children. That's the problem. They'll corrupt our children. Technically, we don't live in a society where we follow Torah, so we can't impose Torah on people. We'll see what happens in Israel as things change, but you can't. But So basically, here's Deuteronomy 18. There must not be found among you anyone who makes his son or daughter pass through the fire of Moloch, a diviner, a soothsayer, an enchanter, a sorcerer, a spellcaster, a consulter of ghosts, spirits, or a necromancer that's with the dead. For whoever does these things is detestable to Adonai, and because of these abominations, Adonai your God is driving them out ahead of you. Deuteronomy 18. Also some false prophets in there too. So keep in mind, when the people start doing the May Day stuff, whether it's biblical or modern day, what we should be doing is, and he took away the foreign gods and the idol from the house of the Lord and all the altars that he had built in the mountain of the house of the Lord and in Jerusalem, and he threw them outside the city. He also restored the altar of the Lord and offered it on it sacrifices of peace offerings and of thanksgiving, and he commanded Judah to serve the Lord, the God of Israel. So that's later on in 2 Chronicles 33. So you have to remove them because they'll corrupt your infants and your babies. They'll kill your infants. But that's the problem. That is what always happens. So what's now, we talked about in your face, which is SatanCon, but this is not as in your face. I mean, they're not saying that this is witchcraft or that they're Satanists, but they are, okay? The WEF, okay? The sin of witchcraft. And they want to kill your babes too. So the World Economic Forum says it will accelerate implementation of the globalist agenda 2030. Well, that is going to kill people off. They want to get rid of 2 billion people. I'll show you the slide in a second. Okay, the United Nations, WEF, are frustrated by the lack of progress towards the Great Reset, Agenda 2030, and the Millennium Development Goals. The WEF and world leaders have the Sustainable Goals Progress Report, and they want to hit that. And they're nearing halfway point of this. It's all depopulation. That's what they want. They want to depopulate you. Okay, so the agenda of goodness, I can't cite the source for this. I'm sorry. They're not. I can't publish the source, but I can just say Rhoda Wilson wrote it, okay, on April 28th of 2023. So Dr. John Coleman, he wrote on this many, many years ago. People often ask, who is behind the satanic transhumanist New World Order, and what do the elites, what do they want from all the bioweapons they're using to depopulate the earth? There are some whistleblowers who have come forward, so this John Coleman is one of them. I'm talking about, here it is, the Club of Rome. And so this has been going on since the 60s, and they've wanted to, they're satanic Illuminati elite. They want to know why all the politicians are a puppet show. They are. So Coleman talks about the Club of Rome, the satanic transhumanist agenda, and how the elites protect themselves from plagues they start. So in order to begin to realize world events, it is necessary for us to realize that many tragic and explosive events of the 20th century did not just happen by themselves, but they were planned according to a well laid out blueprint. So the creators of these violent and revolutionary events, they planned it out. They knew beforehand. It was always part of what they wanted to accomplish, because you never let a crisis go to waste. Okay, so mostly these secret societies are based upon the occult and occult practices. They're communicating with these fallen angels. Okay, and with all the secret societies to make up secret governments, and they are controlled by the Committee of 300 poorly informed persons who believe that devil worship, demons, and witchcraft have vanished from the modern society are misinformed. Today, occult-based secret societies, along with Luciferianism, black magic, voodoo, all this stuff, they're flourishing. They're stronger than ever before. And it can be in your face. It doesn't have to be in your face. It's all satanic. So this is Coleman again, the article from Rhoda Wilson about him. The elites protect themselves with herbal compounds mixed with sugar and for the protection of low-frequency radiation, things like that. So they know that they can mix these potions and protect themselves as things get worse in the world. So what does the Club of Rome really want to do then? They want to retard industrial development, hold back scientific research, depopulate cities, move population to rural areas, cull the population of the world by at least 2 billion people. That's Revelation 6:8. That's your fourth horseman. Prevent reorganization of political forces who oppose core plans, destabilize the United Nations, or states rather, United States, through massive layoffs and job losses and class and racial wars. Oh, they're pushing the racial wars. Destroy, and I don't have any problems with anybody else. I love different people groups and things like that, or cultures cultures, so to speak. Okay, but yet in the Bible, Jesus predicts ethnos versus ethnos, epi, and so that's what's happening right now. Ethnic groups are fighting. And why? I mean, the Russians and the Ukrainians are basically the same people. Why are they fighting? So anyway, destroy capital incentive, things like that. So this is what's happening, and so this is the Club of Rome. And then this guy, oh, this guy's amazing. So depopulation. So this is from LifeSite News. It's about depopulation. Some even believe we are part of the secret cabal working against the best interests of the United States. Yeah, that we're pushing for one world. If that's the charge, I stand guilty, and I am proud of it. In searching for a new enemy to unite us, we came up with the idea of that pollution, the threat of global warming, water shortages, famine, and all the like would fit the bill. All these dangers are caused by human intervention. And it was only through these changed attitudes and behavior that they can be overcome. The real enemy then is humanity itself. And I'm blanking on the name of the man. It doesn't matter who the guy is right here. I'm sorry that I forgot to cite that in this article. But really, the real enemy is humanity itself. What a horrible concept. What horrible beasts these are. Okay, so where are we right now? We're in the birth pangs. We are not in the Great Tribulation or the Tribulation. We are waiting. We are watching SatanCon. We are in the third seal. We've seen the first seal grow, the second seal grow, the third seal is growing too. I can't say that I thought, okay, as of last week, I posted that it seems like we're about 1 billion people down. It's possible, but I can't prove that. So where are we right now? We are the good people that love God are trying to repent and prepare for this wedding at some point in time. You want clean garments. It's a wedding coming up. And the proof of that is, of course, Revelation 22. How blessed are those who wash their robes so that they have the right to eat from the tree of life and go through the gates into the city. Outside are the sexually deviant, those involved with the occult and with drugs, the sexually immoral, the murderers, the idol worshippers, and everyone who loves and practices falsehood. That's Revelation 22. You want clean garments. That's why I'd say it every single week. Choose God over fear and the globalists. Okay, so that's what I want you to do. I want you to be blessed, and thank you very much for the time that you've given me today. And we'll talk again next week. Be blessed. Bye.